Hello and welcome everyone to your little slice of paradise, your little escape into nature with me, your guide. It's me, Trishala, and I'm so happy to be joined by all of you this Tuesday for the Africam show. And we're starting off at the cam at Stony Point, and we're looking at some dassies. Shame, they look quite cold, much like myself. The dassies and I are not very far from each other, just about 100 kilometers or so. And I am here in Cape Town. And if this is the first time that you're joining us, welcome aboard. Not even if it's your first time, just for everybody, welcome aboard. I hope that you have a smile on your face. If you don't have one, I'm sure that you'll have one by the end. Remember that we're live and interactive, so send through your questions and your comments. You know how much I love to hear from you and have beautiful discussions about the environment, ecology, wildlife, biology, animals, all of it. And I also like to know what you're having to drink as you watch this. Rolling Trouble, you're the first one in. You say, hi Trishala from Washington. You've got your coffee and your water in hand. You go, Rolling Trouble. Great combination. Zygote, you say, hi Trishala. Hi to you too, Zygote. Dear NC, you say, greetings from Seattle. You're ready with your coffee and a smile. Oh, I love that. I love that. Jan Powers, you say, hi Trish, and hi to everyone. Now for me today, I feel like I really needed this escape, not really an escape, immersion into nature and into wildlife. And for me, this is the best way to do it if I can't do it in person. And so many of us are in a position where we really, really love animals and wildlife, but so often it means that we have to travel and there's lots of expenses. But this gives us the opportunity to get some really great insights into wildlife goodness. The dassie right at the bottom, on the bottom right-hand corner, had a really cute face as it looked up at these two. They're trying very hard to keep warm. You can actually see that their fur is blowing in the wind every now and then. So it's telling you a little bit about what the weather is like. And I've said to you previously that for the majority of the country, obviously we're all in winter, but winter can look different. So winter in the Western Cape is wet, it's windy, it's really cold, whereas winter in the Lowveld, where many of our cameras are, winter is drier and the temperatures don't get too cold. So these dassies have it pretty hard. Mary Momo, you say hi Trishala and all from rainy Hot Springs, Arkansas. I'm so used to hearing you, Mary Momo, talk about how hot Hot Springs, Arkansas is, but you've got your water and you're ready to go. Trainer Matt 51, so nice to hear your name so often these days. Good morning from North Carolina, USA. Good morning to you, Trainer Matt 51. Bob from Kalamazoo, you say happy Tuesday, my friend. Bob, you're my friend too. I wonder if you've got your Diet Coke in hand. Kelly loves cats. You say good morning from California. Thanks for the show. Our absolute pleasure. Kelly, I would love if we could show you some cats today. But remember that what's happening is we're moving through the different cams, all of course live. And if we're really, really lucky, we might see a cat. But I think if we're very lucky, we might see a black eagle chick as well. So we're obviously here at the Black Eagle Nest Cam. One of the adults has brought a kill to the... Oh, there we go! There we go! Can you see that cotton ball? Now, I was not sure if what I was seeing was actually the chick or not, but at one point it turned its head and you could see that really dark beak. Not just the beak, but the fleshy skin around it. We saw the chick! Oh, this is fantastic! Now you can see that the adult is feeding itself, essentially, at this time, but is also trying to encourage the chick to eat a little bit too. Now, while some birds can produce a type of milk, crop milk. I suppose using the word milk is not really correct because, or at least not biologically correct because not being produced by mammary glands, but some birds do produce a crop milk, which is essentially when they, I guess in a similar way, they're producing a liquid out of mucus and other kinds of bodily fluid, including blood and things like that. They're creating this little nutrient-rich fluid to feed their young, but eagles don't do that. In fact, the majority of birds don't do that. Flamingos are obviously the ones that we know that do it, or are very famous for doing it. The other ones are doves and pigeons. But this little black eagle chick has got to eat meat from the get-go. Cuttlefish 45, you say happy Tuesday from Ohio. Hello Cuttlefish 45. I love a cuttlefish. I really do. Thank you for joining us. Omiwo1, you say good morning. You're a first-time viewer. You've got your coffee and supposed to be working in Oklahoma. Well, I think that this is work too, Omiwo1. And I'm so glad that you can join us, because this is a brilliant moment. This is the first time that we've seen the black eagle chick, at least on the Africam show. So last week when we were together and we were doing this, I hadn't been able to see the chick. And now we can see it. Tiny little downy creature. This is such a beautiful moment. Such a beautiful moment. Kaoru, you say you see the chick? Fantastic. I was so excited when I saw it. Now both the parents will take turns both incubating the clutch and feeding the chick and making sure that it's nice and warm. So one will always sit by the nest, especially at this kind of critical time. You know, this chick is only at most 2 weeks old, and in fact I think a little bit less than that. So there's always going to be one parent at the nest, or at least the majority of the time. Oh, there we go. You're strong, little one. You picked your body up. I feel like almost you can see the bonding happening right here. It's so foreign in a way because we are used to what bonding looks like in mammals. We're used to touch, affection, eye contact, all that kind of thing. But nevertheless, looking at these aves, these birds right now, there seems to be this connection happening, and I think that it's such a beautiful thing to witness. The chick looked up at its parent. You know, it could have just been for some food, but it doesn't matter. A connection is being established. And I think it's fantastic. Jurel, you say, good day, Trishala. You've got a delicious cup of Java. And yes, you're wearing a smile while you wait for the always live and always wild. Oh, Jurel, goodness, you should work for Africam with that kind of comment. That was beautiful. It summed up everything. Well, welcome. Trainer Matt 51, you say, very cool. Rolling Trouble, first time you've seen the chick on the Black Eagle cam. I'm so glad to hear it. And we've been so lucky to have seen quite a few clutches from this pair. So apparently, Mum does the majority of the nest care, but Dad will also come in as well. Oh, look at that! Look at that! So tiny. So tiny. Ah, and off it goes. So it's only going to be a few moments before another parent comes in. You could see that something definitely got the attention of that adult. Maybe it was her or his partner that was flying close by. But this is a great example of why that white down makes sense. We know that black eagles, they're more correctly known as Verreaux's eagles, of course, because there's also a black eagle that is called black eagle in Asia. So the Verreaux's eagle is black. Some riveting information right there, right? But you can be quite conspicuous if you are born black, especially against a rocky face. So from above, and we know that they're predators for young chicks, whether they're black eagle chicks, whether they're martial eagle chicks, it doesn't matter. But predators of young chicks include other predatory birds. So if from above you're watching and you see a big black spot, because really dark colors are not often seen in nature, like, proper black. So if you're seeing a proper black little spot in a nest, it makes that chick even more vulnerable. So this white is really working for it, because if we think about light and light reflecting off of this area, being white, you just look like another bit of material that is reflecting a lot of light. So precious. Now, a parent will definitely come back for it in a bit. Remember that adults have to also make sure that they feed themselves and are in the best possible health. Oh, yes! We've got a jackal. We've got a black-backed jackal. Oh, I love this animal. Absolutely love this animal. And we've got a pair. Of course we do. We usually will see them in pairs or in very small family groups. Ambico, you say, whoo, late today, but happy to be here. Happy Tuesday to all, and thank you for the program. Oh, this is beautiful. So this is Aldonio at the moment. The cam that just keeps on giving. This jackal's having a drink with its partner not very far behind it, or maybe ahead of it. And even though this is a predator, and this is what we call a mesocarnivore, so it's a middle carnivore. It's not something that, it's not an apex predator, but at the same time, it's not like, way down in the ranks. When we refer to meso or mega, we're also referring to size. Oh, give us a little shake. Now, because they are mesopredators, they aren't in direct competition with some of the more iconic and more well-known apex predators. So leopards, lions, hyenas, they're not in direct competition with them. So they tend to be a little bit more well tolerated. It can kind of seem quite strange. Plenty of times I've seen a pride of lions busy having a go at their most recent kill, and they don't, well, maybe don't mind is a strong word, a strong term actually. They don't chase after the jackals. And I've seen jackals howling, making such a ruckus around a kill by a lion, and lions not even bothering. Now, if that was a leopard or a hyena, lions would be very, very upset. But because these carnivores, the jackals, are not in direct competition with them, it makes for one excellent viewing and a great way to watch animal behavior and interactions. And before I had seen it for the first time, I had no idea that jackals were so tolerated by lions. And it was only after I'd seen it for the first time, when was it? It was probably about 2 years ago, that I went and I did some some research because I thought this is incredible. This is crazy. And I found that it's actually something that has been documented in the past as well. Things are looking nice and green up there in East Africa as our jackals made their exit. Rolling Trouble, you say, woohoo, jackal, woohoo indeed. Definitely plenty of woohoos. I love this waterhole. I would say, and you know how I hate to pick favorite, I would say it's my most close to favorite waterhole. Alright, we're back down in Southern Africa, or South Africa specifically, and we have a lovely croc. Oh, we've got a couple of questions. So while we look at these, I was going to say at these crocodiles, but there's just one crocodile. But while we look at them, I'm going to answer a few questions. So Cuttlefish 45, you wanted to know why do they, and you're referring of course to the black eagle chick, have so much fluff on their legs? Ah, you're referring actually to the adult. That actually a really important question. So the legs of birds, right now we're looking at the heron there in the back, and birds and reptiles are closely related. So the legs of birds are often covered in scales. And that's really important because it allows birds to have a little bit more protection. Because remember that the majority of the hunting that they're doing with their feet and their talons. So it allows them a little bit more protection. Now if you have feathers as well, to bulk up that area, that's even more protection. But we must also remember that feather growth involves the need for the body to have some kind of at least complex nerves and blood vessels running through the area. So if you don't have lots of feathers on your legs, it could mean a reduction, or it does mean a reduction in blood vessels in that area. And we know at least one, that I can think of right now, group, snake eagles, that specifically don't have feathers on their feet and their legs, which is important because they are very vulnerable to snake bites, being snake eagles, and so if they have a less vascularization in those legs, less likely that any venom is going to go up into their bodies. And that's one of the identifying features of true eagles, Cuttlefish 45, is having these pants. You know, I like to call them pants because they kind of look like cowboys, but feathered legs, one of the identifying features of true eagles. Mary Momo, you're talking about the jackals now. You'd like to know what size would be a large pack of jackals. You've seen a couple at a time on the cams. So for me, a large pack, okay, let's talk about what we usually see. We usually see them in pairs, and that's because they have strong bonds, mating pair bonds, and they will often, so when we say an animal is monogamous, what we mean is that an animal will stay together for one breeding season, i.e., they will not breed with others during a single season. So kind of think about it as marriage. So if you are married and you have a single partner, you are monogamous. But if you get divorced and then marry or have another single partner at a different time, doesn't make you polygamous. You're still monogamous. So if there's in fact, the majority of the time when we say something is monogamous, we mean that they stay together for a single season. Sometimes there are some animals like albatrosses that will have really long-lasting pair bonds that can last their whole life. Also penguins have a similar thing. But that's not always what it means. Those are mostly the exception when animals pair for life. But jackals are monogamous, and they have been known to sometimes pair for a very, very, very long time. And so we often see them in pairs. The other type of group you'll see them in is small family groups. The small family group essentially will just be the pair and their most recent offspring, which can be anything from 1 to about 5, at least from what I've seen. Possibly even more as well. The most I've seen are 5 pups. So that's a family group. Now with jackals, they also have extended family that can come and help. Actually, I say extended family, but that's incorrect. Previous offspring and sometimes extended family relatives can come and help. So if the alpha pair themselves keep their offspring from their last litter, maybe there's 2 or 3 of them, and then the offspring from this litter, you can end up with a jackal pack of about 10 if breeding success is very high. But we must also remember that most of the time when there's groups like that are an alpha pair plus their previous offspring plus their most recent offspring, then they don't always forage together. In fact, even seeing couples, sometimes they meet and then they leave again. They don't always forage together, so we don't see them close together except if we go and visit a den, which is a beautiful place to be in. Cuttlefish 54, you say that's one brave bird. I'm telling you, the birds here, they can be so brave around these crocs. So, so brave. Oh no, Mr. World UAE 87, what is this you say? I can't even. Do you know how much I love porcupines? Absolutely love. So my dream is to see a South African hedgehog in the wild and to see baby porcupines. And Mr. World UAE 87 says, you hope that I'll see a baby porcupine one of the days because you saw one on Oldonyo last night. I hope so too. I really do. It's gonna happen. A couple more, or we've got 2 more questions with regards to the jackal. Rolling Trouble, you would like to know, are they related to the American fox? Distantly, yes. They're both canids. But that's as far as I can say. And this leads very nicely into, oh my goodness, I just realized that your name is Cuddlefish and not Cuttlefish. Cuddlefish 45. I guess you can tell where my brain is at. I've just been doing a whole lot of ocean stuff and I've been thinking about cuttlefish. Anyway, cuttlefish, cuddle, there we go. You'd like to know what a jackal's related to, and this speaks well to what Rolling Trouble was talking about with the American foxes, and I said that they're both canids, but canids are also a really large group. That's any dog, right? We say dog family. That's any dog will fall into the canids group. But cuttlefish specifically, you wanted to know what a jackal's related to. So here in Africa, or at least in southern Africa, the 2 jackals that we see are the side-striped jackal and the black-backed jackal. It is such an ancient lineage. This is a really, really old lineage of canids. And so it separates them from any close relationship with many or any other canids on the continent. So they are most closely related to each other. But if we had to say which other canid it's related to, possibly the dhole. Now the golden jackal, which exists sort of like in much further north, is also called the Eurasian jackal, Eurasian golden jackal. So it's not as I don't know what a nice way to say this is. Not as purebred? No. It's definitely not as ancient a lineage as the two jackals that we get here in southern Africa, the side-striped jackal and the black-backed jackal. I can only say that they are most closely related to each other. Oh, lots to talk about there. Anyway, now we are looking at some yellow-billed storks, and of course the African spoonbill that is busy probing the ground. Competition is such an interesting thing, because essentially both these species are looking for the same thing, looking for small aquatic invertebrates, anything, any little bit of prey that they can get their bills on. But because of the difference in the size of their bill, the robustness, the size of the animal itself, it's separating them. Because if we have a bigger body, a bigger mouth, then we can take bigger prey. So small, like really small differences in size, especially with particularly numerous animals, those small differences in size can make a huge difference in terms of competition. I'm sorry if you can hear the truck outside my window that's deciding to drive really slowly and now break something. It's a really cold and rainy, overcast days here in Cape Town over the last 2 weeks. I'm getting a bit tired of it. So that's why it's especially nice to escape with all of you into what looks like very warm, very sunbathed land. You can see that the water in Tau is getting lower and lower. Oh, what do we have there? Is that another jackal? Looks like it. So we saw, we usually see a pair here as well. This is like, this is the best jackal Tuesday we've had together. There you go. You can also see that the jackals don't attract a lot of attention from other animals, prey species in the area. Now, I have seen impala alarm calling at jackals before, but only if they're kind of weaving in and out of herds. But if they're just going about their business, they don't elicit the same kind of reaction as impala will have towards really large, really threatening predators. So jackals, they really have found this kind of middle way. They can take advantage of other larger predators, and that they don't get chased away very often or attacked. There it goes. And also take advantage of their size by not causing too much alert and disruption from the animals, the prey species around it. And that's because even these prey species are not actually prey for the jackal. Oh, Amberco, you'd like me to tell you the difference, or how to tell the difference between a black-backed jackal and a side-striped jackal? That's an excellent thing to bring up. So, the black-backed jackal has a very dark saddle. I know it's not fully black, but you can see where that saddle on the back of the neck and the back is. You can also have a look at the tail. It's dark towards the tip. So there are some size differences, but that doesn't really make any sense if you can't see them next to each other. So black-backed jackal, they have a black back. Sometimes they have this whitey hair, kind of silvery white hair or streaks on that saddle, but it's really obvious. Now for me, when I was first learning about these animals, when I tried to separate both these jackals, the tail really helped. So black-backed jackal, dark tail at the end of the tail. Side-striped jackal doesn't have the dark saddle, but sometimes it can be confusing because there is a slight change in the color on the back, and that's because it's got the two side stripes. So sometimes from a distance, they might look similar, but it is not so contrasty. But most importantly, side striped jackal has a white tip on the tail. And that's really, really obvious. Otherwise, the side striped jackal is a little bit larger than the black-backed jackal. And in terms of behavior, the black-backed jackal is a little bit more of a hunter than the side striped jackal that prefers to nibble on invertebrates and fruit. A lot less carnivorous. So remember, Amber Cole, easiest way if you're just starting off, look at the tail. If the tail has a dark patch in the end, black-backed jackal. If it's got a white patch, side-striped jackal. This is so great. Even a little bit of a smile. Oh! And we've got a beautiful big Ellie at Old Donyo. But it appears to be stuck. Oh, there we go. Hello, you beautiful Ellie. My goodness, I've been having such a great time that I didn't realize that it's time to say goodbye already. This was beautiful, everyone. I hope, like I said at the beginning, that if you didn't have a smile or you had a bit of a smile, that the smile is bigger now that you spent some time in nature with me and all these wonderful animals. Thank you for your questions and your comments. I'm so happy to have spent this time with you. We saw the black eagle chick, we saw 3 jackals, dassies, and this beautiful Ellie bull to end with. Thanks everyone, and goodbye for now.